What it do? Back in the place. What's up? I see Paul in the super chat. What's good, fam? Quickly checking in from work. Hope everyone has a great day and a love-filled Thanksgiving. Peace and love, fam. Yo, big shout out to Paul in the super chat. I will say, me myself, I will not be taking a large part in collaboration with Thanksgiving because of several things. So I might likely even be live that day here. I am also working on getting some other things finalized and put together for the shelter activation that you all have so lovingly sent out a lot of positive vibes about. Also, trying to get a dedicated internet separate service allocated to just the streaming area only so that we can probably have less interference, have less situations, less reboots. So I will be doing that, trying to get a separate service, separate dedicated hard line into this system. When that system actually gets back, motherboard and processor had to go out for RMA, but we're making changes already, like Formula One and the new era coming, and so is new regulation. Now, we know we do have Qatar this weekend, so we do have a race and I think a sprint event this weekend, even during the Thanksgiving weekend. So we have some Formula One to watch. We got some football to watch. We got a lot of things to watch. What's up, Galactus in the super chat? If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby. Woo! We got Paul in the super chat. Chaos, Lord Chaos in the super chat. Rambro88. What's going on, bro? So let's just talk about this briefly. There's already a lot of talk of things changing for the teams coming up next season. There's even some talk of a potential team principal rejoining Formula One. I know how some of us feel about that. I would imagine that you will be right in how you feel about that. But what we know about Formula One and some other sports is whatever it takes to win within means of the rules, the regulations, and the confines of not ruining our marketability to our viewership. And evidently, at this point in time, Aston Martin may feel that with everything that is going on, it might be a good idea to bring in Christian Horner. Now, I already talked about the personal side of this. No, I don't agree with Christian Horner being in Formula One, given his resume as far as a person, his character. His resume as far as contributing to a winning team could be debatable. I think I did a video. I know I did a video and I spoke to this. I think Christian Horner's success is largely tied to Adrian Newey's development. Okay? Adrian Newey no longer there. Performance of Red Bull falls. And yes, I did hear Max Verstappen's cute little comment of it's all about the car. Well, what the hell else is it about? Because that's the only thing that really changed. Max Verstappen hasn't all of a sudden become a better driver in 2025 to that degree. What changed was the car. What changed was developments. What changed was aerodynamic insight. That's what changed. And with that changing, put you in a better situation. So yeah, it is largely about the car. Just as it is with any driver, it's just that sometimes delusional people want to try to make a fictitious narrative to make you seem greater than you really are. So yeah, it is largely about the car, and I don't care who you are. Lewis Hamilton did not win a world championship with Mercedes while they made a lackluster, lame duck, piece of crap car for 3 seasons in and out. Lewis Hamilton has not had a Grand Prix podium. He's had a sprint podium and a sprint pole this season because Ferrari has made a lame duck car. Ferrari promised some things that could not be. Leclerc has. Congratulations. And strategy has been horrible. So there are some things there that Lewis Hamilton's going to have to get in take. So that's things going into the 2026. So I'm going to tell you, Aston Martin, as far as making a move to this degree going into 2026 with Christian Horner, is smart. Okay? This is outside of what I think about Christian Horner. This is me saying it's smart. All right? It's just hear me out. We already know, okay? We already know that Aston Martin, as a team of lineage, has been one of those teams to mimic or copy success. Remember this. We had Tracing Point and we had the Green Bull. Aston Martin is now again going to try and duplicate that once, which was at Red Bull, now at Aston Martin. Remember, new regulations come out, and we had the Green Bull, which basically looked like a mimic, a copy of the Red Bull. Well, now they have done it on a larger scheme going into 2026. And we're going to talk in general what I think about the new 2026 regulations coming up in regard to all teams, but I'm talking about certain teams going into 2026 right now. And so now Aston Martin has the Honda Power Unit, just as Red Bull did previously. They also now have, being a works team, they also now have Adrian Newey, which was with Red Bull during their several successful seasons in Formula One. And now they're going to bring in, or talk, speculated. It's not confirmed. It's not even officially announced that there's a possibility that Aston Martin could acquire the services of Christian Horner. All of those are components that Red Bull have had. And so it's not a bad move if you want to bring a person in that was very pivotal in that success run. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to vastly decrease your learning curve in an era of new regulations. And if you have the power unit, which is very familiar for Adrian Newey and Christian Horner, you have Adrian Newey as your design, which is very familiar for Christian Horner and Honda. Then you bring in Christian Horner, which is very familiar for Adrian Newey and Honda. These are things that you're doing to decrease your learning curve, going into a very, very intricate era of regulations. The car is changing largely. So yeah, I can't blame Aston for it, although I don't agree with it, okay? This is a team that is a very honed in focal point of what are you going to do in 2026. You're putting all of these ingredients together. A lot of people, including myself, want to see what comes of those ingredients. I want to see what's going to come out of that oven. Another team that I will be focused on as well in 2026, and this is even before the new teams, because let's just be real, the new teams, regardless of how much winning they've done in other racing disciplines and areas of motorsport, they're still new teams to Formula One. I think they should still be afforded the grace of being a new team in Formula One. So my focus is not largely on those two teams because they're new, is because they're new. My focus is on teams that have been here, been through an era of regulation changes, have had to undergo and weather those storms, and have either prevailed or fallen short in those competitions and those challenges. So first up is Aston Martin for me. First up is Aston Martin. The next team that I'm looking at is Mercedes. Young up-and-coming rookie driver, won't be a rookie then. Another driver who's been in your program now trying to battle it out and prove that he belongs as the number one driver to lead Mercedes into, hopefully, a new era of winning and a new era of regulations, Russell and Antonelli. Mercedes is on my radar because they have failed in the recent era of new regulations. They failed. The new floors came in. They failed at that. They completely failed. The side pod design, although it looked very cunning and sleek and different, and I liked it because it was different, it didn't work. What's going on, Miss Dino? It didn't work at all. All right. It was sad. It cost Lewis Hamilton 3 seasons of his career, and it didn't work out well for Mercedes. So Mercedes is another team that I'm looking into to see what are they going to do. What's going to come out of the Mercedes oven for the new era regulations in 2026. Yes, they got the turbo hybrid V6 era nailed. They did a phenomenal job on that, and we stayed in that era with some minor changes for a long time. But when we had a big change, Mercedes fell short. We got another big change coming. I'm wondering is Mercedes going to fall short, or are they going to pop to the front? So that's another team that I'm focused on going into the new era regulations in 2026. What's up, Ms. Dino? What's up, Paul? What's up, Racer Regs 210 and everybody else pulling up in the live chat? Also, don't forget, I did make a video and posted on the Discord. I have done, and we are setting aside clothes for the Women's Battered and Abused Children's Center as well. All right, so we will have clothes going to them as well. But the next team that I'm focused on, so we got Aston, we got Mercedes. Of course, this should be a team that almost all of us are looking to see how are they going to do. And that team is undoubtedly Red Bull. Should be Red Bull. all right, should be Red Bull. How are you going to do? And I played with, it was kind of a 3A and 3B, right? Because it was going to be Red Bull or it was going to be Ferrari. And right now, I don't expect to see much from Ferrari. And there are some key points that I'm wondering, can Red Bull match? You've lost Adrian Newey. You've lost Christian Horner. You likely was speculated to have going in a direction where you're going to lose Max Verstappen. You have a driver's quandary where we don't know where either of these three shuffled drivers may be in Yuki, Lawson, and Hadjar. Hadjar being the better performing driver in those two teams, 4 cars and 4 drivers other than Max Verstappen. I'm also wondering, is there going to be some smoke or speculation to the FIA deciding that things may need to change here with you having 2 teams, 4 cars, and 4 drivers on the track? I'm wondering, is Formula One and the FIA going to say, listen, this might be a little bit much. And going forward, this might be the time for us to change that. But I doubt it. I'm just wondering if news is going to start happening. I know nothing logistically is going to be officially announced, but I'm wondering if news is going to start happening with that. I want to see which one of these drivers is Red Bull going to promote, demote, or are they going to bring somebody in completely new? I want to see what the drivers themselves want to do with Red Bull going into 2026. If some of these drivers might start to explore other options. I also want to know, what is Red Bull going to be able to do with a handbasket of new regulations? What's going to come out of their oven? Are they going to step further back? Are they going to make some moves forward? Are they going to remain dominant? Is the team going to be intact? All of this is important and very interesting to me to see how these teams are going to perform. And then next would be Ferrari. My next team would be Ferrari. Ferrari, you sucked. You made a huge error. And I do, not error, you made a huge error in changing as much as you changed on that car coming into 2025. Many of your competitors, McLaren, Aston Martin, Red Bull, Mercedes, elected to not do anything drastic when the regulations weren't changing and we're on the doorstep of the regulations due to be changed. You decided to do something, I guess, fun and spontaneous, much like Mercedes with the slim down side pod, and it didn't work at all. It didn't work at all. There was not even a glimpse of it working. At times throughout the season, we thought maybe there was something that they were getting onto. At times in the season, we thought maybe Ferrari happened to maybe find something that they could extract and improve upon. But let's just be real. That never really happened. The rear of the car is still unstable. The overall car's performance is still subpar. And the ability for Ferrari to show us that they clearly know what they're doing and the direction they should be going in is lost. So now here it is again. You're about to walk through the door of 2026, and that car you have now is largely going to have to be changed. So you've built a reputation where we can't trust you to do something to that magnitude and come in and think you're going to compete. So yeah, I want to see what Ferrari and how they're going to manage this, because I am more inclined to think that Ferrari is about to lay up another brick and build a church than they are a swish and hit a 3-pointer as the buzzer goes off. I don't think any of you should have any confidence that Ferrari's going to get it right. I understand rumors, but we had those rumors before. They sat down with some of those things that we'd heard rumors on, and they sold it to Lewis Hamilton to have him believe that we are going to be at the top. Ta-da! They're not top 3. And it's very sad that Ferrari's not top 3, because technically they should be. They should be. And let me make sure I check that, because technically they should be. And to me, it's still an indictment even for them to have toggled in between being or not being in the top 3 as a constructor. As a constructor, it is to me. So right now, yes, they still are behind. And now that gap has grown to Red Bull in order for them to capture the 3rd spot. So they're still 4th. So they're out of our little list right here. They're in the garage somewhere. So yeah, that's another team I'm looking to see. What are you really gonna do? What's really gonna happen here? Are you really gonna find some type of piece of article of evidence that you can build off of in the off season and come back in testing and we see some type of promise to give people encouragement? Because I'm not fully signing on that dotted line until Ferrari does something. They've exhausted their leniency with me. And mine was already shorter than I know a lot of you all. Definitely shorter than Racer X 210. Maybe they still have a little bit of leniency with Racer X 210, but they don't have any leniency with me. I'm treating them as so. And then the other two teams, Audi, Cadillac, new teams, I'm just trying to see, can you be decent? I just want to know, can you show us that you might have the possibility to be good? Can Audi take all of their, in which I'm going to say this, when I saw that video, it was pretty confident. Many told us what we couldn't do, and we did it. Well, now you're coming into the big boy sport, Formula One. Many people feel what you might not do, are you going to do it? Cadillac, there's some things that come with house money. Miss Dino says Adami needs to listen to the radio. It's painful. Sir Lewis Hamilton, it's like he has to pull teeth out for info. Disgrace. That's another thing. That probably needs to change at Ferrari too. That team structure, team personnel positions need to be swapped out. But yeah, I just want to know, can you come to Formula One and look like you belong in Formula One? Not expecting you to win a bunch. I'm not expecting you to win a race all season, honestly. I just want to, these are my checkpoints for Audi and Cadillac. And Cadillac, you're playing with house money because you officially will be America's Formula One team, because Haas is not. Haas just has a P.O. box and they claim to be America's team, but they're not. Once Cadillac's car comes out of that garage, Haas is not even thought of to that degree. It's not even a question. Haas is not America's Formula One team. And I don't want them to even try to make it like they're one of two. You're not. Cadillac will officially and largely be regarded. Listen, let me tell you something. My brother doesn't watch Formula One. My brother doesn't watch Formula One. He doesn't. He texted me the other day because he is a firm believer in Cadillac. He likes Cadillac cars. He has a Cadillac. He's looking to buy a 1989, I think, Fleetwood Cadillac. He texts me the other morning and he says to me, is Cadillac joining Formula One? I said, yes. This is what's already happening. You already know I did the video when I went out and asked people, did they know America had a Formula One team? I bet you they'll know now. If my brother texts me and asks me about Formula One because Cadillac's making announcements, Cadillac's doing marketing, Cadillac's doing activations, Cadillac's putting that information out there, yes, Cadillac will be America's Formula One team. I'm just looking to see if you can be good. Don't be disgraceful. Don't suck. Don't be horrible. That's all. Just be okay. Just be okay. And then we can build off of that. So that's what I'm looking for in the new air regulations. The Formula One cars as a whole now, not as just teams. Racer X210 in the super chat says, let me run Sir Lewis Hamilton's strategy and guarantee you I would get him a podium. You know what? I believe that. I believe that. I believe many of you here just could walk in, look at the screens, get some valid information, and probably help guide Lewis Hamilton to something, because Adami is trash. And I know I know that's hyperbole. I know that's a lot of, man, that's crazy to think that. But I'm just saying that's how bad it is for one to feel such a way of the actions by Ferrari and Adami. It's almost criminal. So, yeah. Now, as a whole, all these teams are about, I know you've seen plenty of posts. The cars are going to be slower. Energy deployment is going to be different. Front and rear active aero is going to be crazy. All of this is true. I'm not really concerned about it. Is the car going to be slower? Maybe. But does it matter? Everybody's going to have that same baseline of a car. Everybody's going to have to deal with that. So what if it's 5-6 more kilometer an hour slower? So what? Everybody's got to deal with that. I honestly think Formula One, in some ways, not in a lot of ways, but in some ways have looked at NASCAR and said, you know what? That might be a direction in there somewhere that we could use here and make it work. Not overall, because I don't watch NASCAR. Shit's boring. Bunch of left-hand turns and beer in circles. I'm not in that. But I think that it's being blown out of proportion about the car being speculated to be slower. Everybody's going to have to deal with that. And so what if the cars are bringing things down to an equal baseline of competition and you're just going to have to find little, but that's what Formula One is. Can we find things in the regs to extrapolate? Can we find things in the regs where we can kind of get by? It's a gray area that we can expose. And you know what? We can exist in that gray area until we can't anymore. And then we have to jump into another gray area to find performance that other teams may have not found yet. It's not a big deal to me. I don't care if overall the cars are a tad bit slower. I don't know if you can even realize that when you're watching TV, if you're talking about viewership reasons. But as far as car and competitive and technical and team and mechanics and aerodynamics and all of this, it matters. And they want to try to find a way around it. But I'm not really concerned with it. I'm more concerned about, or I'm more interested. Because I don't have to have the concern here because I'm not having to deal with these components. I'm more interested in the energy deployment and the active aero. And like anything in building a car, if some of you have built cars, which I have, and if you're in building cars and you've been part of a team that you've employed to help you put things together, when we build these custom parts, like I'm building for the car and I got an idea and I want a part to be different, not as it's sold, and we're going to take it and break it down and make it to how I want it, I'm going to tell you, yeah, there's a lot that goes in differently and it doesn't necessarily function the way I thought it might function. So now we have to try to find our way. 2026 is going to be that. People are worried about the car being slower. Don't, because there's so many other things that these teams are going to have to deal with that they don't see right now that are probably unforeseen situations that there's going to be a lot to be had. This is brand new. A lot of things have changed. And anytime you got a bucket of changing parts, you kind of don't know what's going to make what happen. It's like pulling a piece of string. You don't know what part of this string is going to pull that piece or that piece. I'm more interested in seeing how and who is going to find their way sooner than others and actually be on their way in extreme pace every week, every week, every week. That's what I'm more interested in. There's going to be problems. There's going to be energy deployment problems. There's going to be gripes about that. It's going to be front and rear aero active problems. There's going to be gripes about that. There might even be a decision on how should we keep employing it. Should we allow them to activate it here and not let them activate it there? Should we just activate it across the board for all teams as soon as they pass the checkpoint? Is there another element that we can add in that gives the teams a little bit more of a leverage? If your guy's faster, if your guy remembers, if he comes across that line and he hits the button, but as soon as he crosses this line, it's just automatically going to shut off. There is so much that's going to go into this that it's going to be very interesting to see who and what. Testing is probably going to be one of the most watched testing sessions in probably some time. The floor was one turbo hybrid era. Now with this entire revamp, it's going to be watching. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how and what's going to happen and where we are going to be with that. So 2026 is very interesting to me. I'm not concerned about how much slower they may be. I mean, 6 more kilometers an hour is okay. Whoop-de-damn do. Now, can you find something to give you those 6 kilometers an hour back that every team has to deal with? So yeah, Aston Martin, I already went over that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. So big shout out to everybody. Next week marks the week. Next Saturday, I will be making the trip with my brothers to the shelter, and I will get pictures, and it should be a good day. Now, I already know. Just because people are in a lesser position than you, just because people are homeless doesn't mean that they're not assholes. Some of these people are not very appreciative, and I get it. Should you be that way? No. But has life and the decisions you've made cost you to be that way? Yeah. And I've told all of my brothers, listen, the way we're going to handle that is this. I'm glad to be here to help you out. Here you go. And let them be on their way. Don't engage. Don't get in an argument. It's pointless, man. We're not down here to try to change somebody as far as how they feel and if they're considerate. One person out of 100 people that we are going to serve today might be disrespectful and unappreciative. So the hell what? What matters is the whole. What matters is the majority. And majority people that will see us here doing things for them are going to be appreciative that we're here doing something. So just be concerned about that. We'll have security on deck for everybody else. We'll have other things in place and on deck for anything else that might take place. We'll be prepared for that. But let's just go in here with an open heart to have a good time and to enjoy people enjoying people. That's it. All right. So we will have pictures on that. Big shout out to everybody to pull up with a super chat. Big shout out to RacerX210. Big shout out to Paul, always checking in. Bro is always in here. And sometimes he's in early. Big shout out to Miss Dino, says Adami needs to listen, because he does need to listen. And big shout out to Miss Dino's little one out there on the K1 Speeds track. Hoping he gets some more experience. I'm hoping eventually you can get him to a track where he can get into a fuel gasoline kart racing and sprint racing to get him further up that area. All right, we'll be paying attention to that. Big shout out to RacerX210, and we will be live again. We do have guitar. Be live for qualifying. Be live for post race. We will have Wolves Den this week for the race. And so all of you stay healthy, happy, drink water, and remember, tomorrow is more than about food. It's about the time that families have off to commune and gather together to enjoy each other, regardless of how the food tastes. Y'all stay up. I'm out. Peace.